Wow. Hi guys. Look at this weather. It's 11 in the day. This is how high the sun goes. Maybe it will go a bit higher on the sky, but not much. It's the middle of November. It's starting to get cold. It's around 0 degrees. You can see on the ground this frost. Frozen moisture. So it's interesting. It's nice to be outside this time of the day, because we don't get a lot of sunlight here in Sweden now, and it's a good time. Yeah, so this is the area I stay at the moment. Yeah. So yeah, today I wanted to talk about something that has come up and thought of for a long time, and it's about poverty for the Maasai, and really my experience and all these things, and come to realize a lot that I share on this YouTube channel is like, I've been in Kenya for the last 6 years. I've been there 6 months every year, and there's a lot of things that I've seen. There's a lot of things that I've been exposed to that not most people are exposed to from the Western world. And when I'm here in Sweden, there's a lot of conversations that I have, and I came to realize there's some things that I have seen others haven't seen. It's interesting to share, and this channel is now an opportunity for that, to share more things with more people that I'm not normally exposed to. So thank you. Thank you for being here and listening to these videos, and I hope what I have to share is something of interest. So if we head back, 2011 is the first time I went to Kenya, and it was actually the reason why I went was yes, it was my depression and the things that I didn't like about the Western life and what I did here, but also there was a deep interest from my side about understanding and exposing myself and see on the ground level what's going on with people in the third world, especially Africa, and what's causing poverty especially, among other things, but poverty especially, of course, even environmental destruction and those things, or struggles, but most of all poverty. I really couldn't understand how comes we in the Western world, we are so wealthy, and yet others are struggling to achieve what we have achieved. Yeah, so most of my time in Kenya I've been exposed and lived with Maasai and Samburu people, groups of people, and there is a lot of things that I've seen. With the Maasais, I've stayed with il Purku group, il Kekonyuki. I've stayed with Kapute, with several groups. I've interacted with even Orkizongo from the other side, with yeah, so many of the different groups, and I've stayed there in different areas, and I've got to know friends, and I still are in contact with a lot of people from those sites. A lot of interactions during my time, and there are observations that I've done, and there are also a lot of discussions and talks and interviews that I've done with different people of different ages. And really what I see is when you talk about poverty, and what I've learned about poverty, it is really something complex. It is really something that you can't say it's the same for everyone. Every person has got into that situation because of different reasons. But there are general things that I can see with the Ma people, the Maasai, the Samburs groups, and it is very connected with the culture and other things. So the main thing that I have seen is the Maasai people and group of people. The main culture is herding animals. Everything is surrounding that life, taking care of the animals, and there is a lot of history and there is a lot of challenges on the way in this kind of life. So it's a group of people who have been living like community, where they've had the land together, and there's been a social responsibility of taking care of the environment, and to be able to take care of the animals and herd animals in a sustained way. So the land itself has been something that everyone has owned. It hasn't mattered really, and your ownership of wealth has been in the individual animals. So either you own it as the father of the house, or the wife. Actually, the wife many times owns a lot of the animals and has a lot of responsibility on those animals. And that's really where the wealth creation is really has been about traditionally. So someone has been a warrior, going for raids, stealing animals when they were young, and maybe they got enough cows now to marry. Some during the marriage, maybe they were given some animals from the father and others. So during the marriage, that's really when they start building their wealth through the animals. And some they have done well and gotten a lot. Maybe they have inherited from the father and those things, or others have gotten a lot of animals because they've been skilled in raiding. And during a long period of time, things have been quite well for the Maasais, and they've been having enough they've been having enough land, and the land has been fertile. It's been savanna, and it's been a system where they've really been able to prosper through having these animals and growing these animals. And I would say traditionally there is a difference between living in poverty and living simple. And I would say they've been living simple lives. They've not been in poverty. They've been living simple lives where they've been able to get the basic needs. But it's not an advanced life, and that's an obvious thing. But they have not been in poverty because they've been having enough food. They've been able to treat their diseases. They've been able to take care of each other. They've been able to have extra time for enjoyment and other things. So really, the environment and the society has been a situation where they've been able to grow and grow wealth through the animal keeping, having a few cows, and then these cows, having a few cows and sheep and goats, and then these cows, they have enough grass. So as long as you protect them, you take them to grazing, they feed well, they multiply, and in the end, when you have done so for quite a number of years, you get quite a number of animals, and you can have more wives and you can have more kids. So that's really been the situation, and really been like the wealth of the society, and they have been having ownership of the cows, but they have not been having ownership of much other things. So the milk has been shared, tools have been shared, a lot of things have been shared around. Yeah. So what has really happened now is they have, according to all this that I have understood, they've been really a wealthy society because of having a lot of animals. And what has recently started to happen, and especially it started in the 1990s with some quite severe droughts, is that this wealth that you have created through time and having a lot of numbers of animals that will multiply, and when they multiply you can sell, you get incomes, you get meat, you get milk, you get all that you need, you get wives, kids. Yeah. What has been the important thing at that time, at least. This has changed because all of a sudden there's a severe drought, and someone might lose someone. A lot of families I've interviewed, they had like 100 cows, maybe 500 goats and sheep, and maybe they remain with 10 cows and 200 sheep. So they have to start over. Next time there's another drought. So since 1990s, some areas they've not been affected, but quite a few areas they've started to be affected. And since then they've been droughts every 5 years, quite severely, that actually kills quite a number of the population of the animals. And it's not so good for the society. And what they do, you see, the old men of the families, the fathers of the families, what the decision tells them to do, what the experience tells them to do, what the culture tells them to do, is trying to get back the animals, trying to get back the numbers, because someone who has 100 cows, maybe has 5 wives, because he has a lot of cows, he can have a lot of wives, and he never expected 90% of the cows would die. So having a lot of wives gives a lot of kids and a lot of responsibilities. So here they really get into a mess, that I would see. And this has pushed a lot of things. And the droughts, they are caused by different reasons, and really it's the droughts and the decisions after taking, like, the kind of lifestyle, growing wealth through the animals, has been changing, and the environment that has been so good for that and productive for that has changed to become a place it's very difficult to be wealthy. And the kids, they grow up, the fathers, they, through the culture, you train the kids to be skilled in taking care of animals, and you hope that that will be now the career and what will make that person to survive and do well in the future. But there's a trend, there's a very, very, very devastating trend of droughts being more severe. There's no there's no grass, there's no food for the animals. Even when it rains, the landscape is so overpopulated by animals, overgrazed. So the growth of the grass, it's just some small grass that comes and then it's eaten, and then there's no grass left in the dry season. And this used to happen. This used to be, the warriors used to protect big lands of places, big forest areas for the droughts, and for many reasons, the lands are also getting smaller. the a lot of lands that are close to towns, they have been demarcated, and they have gotten titles and ownership. And a lot of fathers in these families, they have not seen the value of the land exactly. Because what has been the the first income source has been the cows and the sheep and the goats. So the land has been free. Why do I need a paper about the land? What does it benefit me? So someone gives an proposal to give them money to sell that piece of paper, and with that money they see, oh yeah, I can buy more cows so that I can get back where I was. Right? And this has helped now. The individual sees, oh, I can graze in other places. But this has helped now that land is less and less available, because the one who buys the land will fence the land, and then it can't be grazed. And more people do that. So there's a big issue. It's a really big issue here with the droughts, with a lack of conservation about the environment, a lack of growth of the environment. The lands are becoming less, and in the culture, many sells the land and buy cows, and then the cows die again, and you have this spiral of complications and problems. So that's one thing. That's a main thing that I do see. It's a main thing. And they are losing land because of other reasons. Some areas, they are trying to keep now community land, like in Tanzania. Then the government steps in and says, oh, here is free land, no one lives here. No one's lived there, okay, because this is land protected by the Maasai because of their drought. They want to take the animals there when it's drought, so of course no one lives there to graze. No one is allowed to graze there. So the government says, this is free land, no one lives there, it's not utilized, let us take this land and make a park. Let us take this land and do something where they can get some money in their pockets. So there is land that is getting lost from the Maasai in that way. Even Masai Mara, Serengeti, it was Maasai land that was reserve parks for the drought season for the Maasai. Now they are not allowed to go inside. Even the big forest of Mao, it was a reserve for the Maasais during drought. Nowadays they are hardly allowed to get inside. Nowadays that forest is really been cut. People have taken down the trees, and other communities has come there to farm, and you see. So the poverty that I see with the Maasai is really connected to land, to culture, and to the environmental factors of environmental degradation or environmental change or depletion of the land, trees being cutting, overpopulation of animals, and all these things. And there is another factor, and that is now so many have actually been conquered. Okay, we can't live like this. The animals are not giving us a future, so we have to take the kids to school. And this is another issue again, because the school is not free in Kenya. And if you want to succeed in school, it's not about going for the first years, like just exiting primary school. Because primary school is quite easy to go to. It's not very costly. But you need to finish secondary school. And you need to finish something more than secondary school to really do well in the new Western kind of society, the modern kind of society. So here, a lot of families, they had a lot of cows. Because of that, they bought a lot of, they got a lot of wives. With that, they have a lot of kids. And now the culture is changing, the environment is changing, the world is changing. They want to take the cows, the kids to school, and that is a huge liability, because it's a lot of money. When you have 20 kids and you have even small school fees, it's really difficult. So there you have it. And I've seen so many, they've been selling lands and cows for school fees too. So it's really a difficult situation. It is. And the Maasais are one of the few communities that I've visited and been with in Kenya that poverty is continuing to increase. Other communities, the severe poverty, they had it long time ago, and they've been focusing on education, and they've been taking that step, and they've been taking modernization and and other things, and they've been taking those steps, and they are quite far ahead in those areas, and poverty is really actually going down there. But with the Maasai, it is continuing, because the land is getting more scarce, and really there is not a lot of wisdom and not a lot of people who are advising in the right directions. There even these droughts, yeah, it's complicated, I say, but this is really the big issues. These are the big issues. The land that's getting scarce, you can't do well with the cows anymore, because the land is getting scarce, environment is going down, and school fees. And there is other things, and like the big resource that the Maasai have is the land. And really they have hard to see other options than having animals to utilize the land. Nowadays farming is starting, but it's not really helping so much. It's helping actually to minimize even more land for animals, and the kind of farming that it's introduced is a lot of times also not very long term. Also helps with the soil erosion and erosion of the fertility of the land and other things, and bringing down trees and other things. So yeah, it is a really difficult situation. And another thing, with about now the cows, someone has a lot of cows, and I've actually met a lot of families. They have even seen, like, okay, now we have grown a lot of cows, we have done well. Maybe it's time for us to invest in something else, or because it's a high likelihood there will be another big drought. And what happens is the old people who are the leaders of the family do not really know an option, because if they sell the cows and have money, they know they don't have the skills to take care of the money, the capital. When it's in the cow, it remains. It's a cow. They will not mismanage. But if it's money will be distributed to friends, family. It will be used for buying alcohol and some destructive things, and all of a sudden it's gone. So there's not a lot of options. So really what I see, the community has not yet learned exactly what steps to be taken so that the future will be brighter. because still the focus is on the animals. Still the cows are dying, but in people's mind, oh, maybe I should buy goats instead. Maybe I should buy sheep instead. Maybe I should buy only male goats. The business, the main business is really still in the animals. Even me, I've experienced, and I've been part of this. I've been buying quite some sheep, quite some goats, quite some cows. I've been keeping them with my friends, and in the hopes of it it multiplying and doing something. But it's really difficult. It has been really hard, and it's getting worse and worse. So I would say that's the main thing. So I hope you learned something new about that. And with that, I don't want to leave you just hanging like that. I want to also give an input on what I see is really the solution to this. It could be a solution, and could be a solution that is not really developed as it could be. And really, what I see is is being able to utilize the land. The land is really a resource. There's a lot of things in the land that is really a resource that could be utilized in the right way. The land has a lot of very interesting species of trees. The Maasais are not. The Maasais are in the culture. They are they are known to know how to take care of the trees and know about the trees and the species and the herbs and all those things. But about planting, it's a new concept. So that's really a big thing. Planting, learning to plant trees in a big manner, because the trees give other produce, give sustainability when it comes to health. From the trees they can treat most kind of disease. Nowadays, a lot of people die because they can't get the herbs they used to get available just from the bush, because the trees are gone, because the bush are gone. The trees can give food for the animals during the drought. The trees will improve stop soil erosion. They can help stop degradation of the land. They can help increase the growth of the grass, everything. So really trees, but to be used in a very nice system. So personally, I really promote the permaculture technique, and there are projects that I do. I've not yet put out all material that I have and what's going on, but things are going on, and for some time I've been doing a lot of research, and now it's really trying to actually implement and doing some things that might be of benefit for other people, and where others can learn. And I really recommend learning more about permaculture from others. If you want to come to Kenya to volunteer, it's a great place to be. And in general, yes, tree planting. There is this company I've been involved with as an investor. It's called Better Globe. I've been involved with them since 2010, and they are really not maybe as much into diversification as permaculture, but they are really into the idea of massive tree planting, and they are really doing well, and they do research about different kind of species that can do well in the dry areas. So it's also something to check out. I might put out some videos about them in the future. So those are the things. Those are the main things. It's about bringing back now the environment, and the environment can build the environment again for these people, and the environment can really be a resource. It can really not just be utilized for having animals, but it can be it can really produce herbs, it can really produce firewood, it can really produce charcoal, it can produce timber, it can produce food for the animals, it can produce food for humans, fruits, it can produce enormous amount of different economical things. So really an interesting aspect. And the Maasai and other communities in Kenya, they have a lot of land in the dry areas. Yeah, so yeah, hope you learned something new. Talk to you next time.